Hello everyone, it's finally here. Saturday, update day for Roots. And this week, of course, is the map update. It's been a long time coming, and while this is by no means the final update to the map, nor is it anywhere near finished, it's a major step in the right direction. This update has introduced an entirely new apartment system, a new precinct, Precinct 13, a new area to work, and of course, police station. In addition to replacing some of the old things, such as the temporary way of escaping the city, now there's a new temporary way of escaping the city. I know, it's not exactly multiple exit points per precinct or anything of the likes, and that will come with its own dedicated update in the future. However, until then, I think the way that you're escaping now will be familiar to some of you who have been here on the server for a long time. The new overall design and geometry of the map is far more conducive to the gameplay that we needed, and it's much more balanced for PvP. Instead of there being long, empty roads that didn't have any cover blocking your way, every street, every precinct, every alleyway, there's some corners, there's some cover, there's some dark areas you can sneak into, which is both good for running and hiding away from civil protection, as well as combating them. I did my best to also include some areas which are a little bit better suited for RP. Some of the old areas that were in, say, Precinct 15, such as the industrial area, of course, no longer exist, and have been replaced with a more easily accessed industrial area that's near the apartments. I also tried to replicate some of the things that I created for that area, such as an abandoned sort of junky area behind it. These sorts of things are good for RP. They create atmosphere, they build on the world in ways that aren't just meant to be extra cover for a rebel incursion. The biggest thing about this map that I think is worth mentioning is something that a lot of people might not even realize was an issue to begin with, and it's now solved. That is that previously, the map, while it was still lacking quite a lot, was nearing its limits of what Hammer, what I used to make the map, would actually allow in terms of the size of the level, the amount of vertices, more specifically, that it was using up. In other words, there was too much stuff in the map. But here's the thing, with the old map, it was all wasted. Precinct 13 was a waste. The train station, the train yard, all of that stuff was just so wasteful. You had the most over-decorated spawn area in any map you ever would have seen. That was, of course, the terminal, the train station. But it was underused, it was underutilized. And rather than revolve the entire map around that area, which would make use of the geometry, I decided to replace it. And in doing so, I entirely changed the way that the spawning even works. Now you spawn in the apartments, and in a soon-to-come update, you'll spawn in your own apartment, the one you were assigned to. It will be your home, not only as some kind of a number on an identification, but literally as the very place that you spawn, where you wake up when you die or log into the server. The previous version of the map was well over 80% full, and although I had partitioned some of the remaining space for the needed areas, it really wasn't much to work with. This new map, even though it actually has more stuff in it than the previous one, it actually has more detail, and more of the required areas as well, is actually far, far less full. In fact, it's under 2/3 full, and that includes everything that we have, which means I have over 1/3 of the map that I can still add in as extra detail, as more areas, things like the wasteland, more stuff in the canals, more areas, more 404 stuff, an entirely new precinct. All of this is now possible, and it wasn't before. Roots is not only a lot more interesting now, I'd like to think, but it's also much more able to expand into what it needs. A lot of the things that I have talked about in the past wanting to add are now possible to add. We have the room on the map. So this new map, while it is unfinished, of course, as is to be expected with anything this early on, it is in a hell of a lot better state than it was before. The police station has been designed to not be so easily camped. The apartments have been designed to be a fun place to hang out. The work area, at least the one that we're using right now, the basic work area, not the industrial sector, which would be added later, is accessible at all times, is no longer accessed in a restricted block. The restricted block itself is, well, at times restricted and at times not, just as the old system in Precinct 15 was, except now it's much more obviously auxiliary, or if you're trying to escape through it, it is more obviously intent on being restricted. The next several updates for Roots are going to revolve primarily around expanding upon citizen gameplay, adding new fun things to do in the city for the average person. The past couple of months have mostly revolved around a combination of the Combine, such as the soldiers and civil protection, and things for the map and some base underlying features. I think it's time that I give the citizens some love and attention. More specifically, some fun shit that they can do.